Welcome to Fright Night.
Reveal yourself, tiny songstress.
What the bleeding hell is wrong with you bloody women?
Well, we're gonna have to work on that.
I am the vampire Lestat.
Who in all of England, by the very furthest stretch of the imagination, could possibly be a vampire?
Count Dracula.
Dracula, not myth, is real. I assure you.
I am Prince Vlad of Sekai.
Say it.
Vampire.
Out for a walk, bitch.
Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing really well. So as you can see, I finally have the library reorganized and we are all decorated for spooky season. I still have a little bit more to do, but if you guys are interested in doing a bookshelf tour of the entire library, I know I've been doing like little chunks lately, but if you want to see the library as a whole with like all of the decorations and everything, just let me know down below. I do have a couple of more books that I've pulled recently as well that need to be put up on the shelves, so if you guys are interested, let me know down in the comment section and I can do that video for you guys as well. But today is all about vampires. The VAMPTEMBER readathon was announced the other day and on September 1st, and I've already started my VAMPTEMBER, and I know that I've already done my spooky season pile of possibilities, but I did want to do a video for this one because I love vampire subgenre, and it's surprising that I don't have a whole lot of books in my collection that have to do with vampires. I have been adding some more things recently, but my vampire collection is really super small, and because of course I've been having so much trouble with my reading this year, I'm going to be participating in mostly watching things. So there is a watch prompt, but there are a couple of things in my pile of possibilities that I did last week that have to do with vampires, and there were a couple of other things that I wanted to add in as well, really super short reads, and I wanted to give you guys some suggestions. So if you are taking part in VAMPTEMBER, I mean, there's still loads and loads of time to join in, and this is a super small readathon compared to some of the bigger ones, so of course it's very laid back and you can take part in as much or as little as you like. So first of all, so sorry if you can hear my air conditioning in the background. It is September and it's super hot. We have had like plus 30-degree days for the past little while, and I'm over it. I'm over summer. I want it to be cool. I think starting a little bit later this week, this is Saturday that I'm shooting, I guess next week, we'll be getting a little bit more in the chillier kind of temperature, so I'm really looking forward to that. And it's starting to get dark in the evenings really super early now, which is really exciting because all the spooky TV shows and movies and everything that we're going to be watching, and of course that is going to include some vampire themed things. So I do have my hilarious House of Frightenstein shirt on today, and I'm probably going to be watching a couple of episodes of that because it was one of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid. The opening sequence is really epic because it has Vincent Price, so it's just all of the things. So I did want to let you guys know that there are host videos out. So the group of hosts that are doing VAMPTEMBER is Edie Lewis, of course, from Edie Lewis Reviews, Regina St Claire from Regina's Haunted Library, author L Tillery, Aphrodite Lee, and Dahlia De Winters. So I will have their channels linked down below in the description box. Make sure you go watch their announcement videos. They're a fantastic group of people and just genuinely sweet people as well. They're all very talented, so make sure you go watch their announcement videos. But for my choices, we're going to go through each one of the prompts. I'm going to put in my choices and then give you guys a few suggestions as well. So the first prompt, of course, is read a vampire themed novel or novella, and for this prompt, the one that I'm concentrating on is this book, Against the Darkness. This is book 3 in the In Every Generation series by Kendara Blake, and you guys have heard me rave about this series on the channel before. I love this series. The first 2 books were full 5 stars, and as like an uber Buffy fan, this has been kind of the spin on the original series that I've wanted all of these years, and she did such an amazing job with this one. So I'm about 100 pages into this one. Like I said, I've been really struggling with my reading this year, so it's taking me a little while to get through this one, but I'm really enjoying it. It's really, she just captures the voice of all of the Buffy characters so well. So if you are a Buffy fan, I would highly recommend this one. And you know what? I'm gonna link down below my video that I did of all of my favorite Buffy episodes, because I think that will be really fun. And also, as part of VAMPTEMBER, I am going to be having a couple of Buffy themed videos coming up on the channel as well, so I'm super excited for that. So any Buffy fans out there, make sure you pick up the In Every Generation series. I believe this is the last book. I believe it's just a trilogy, but this is going to be my top pick for this prompt this year. And then I also had these two books on my pile of possibilities as well for spooky season. So like I said, I love the vampire subgenre, but I don't own a whole lot of books around it. But these are ones that I picked up just at the used bookstore earlier this year, and they're really intriguing me. So they're very gothic. They take place in 1850. So we have Vampire Plagues London 1850 and Vampire Plagues Paris 1850. And on the back of this one it says, "An ancient evil, a doomed expedition. The heart of the British Empire is about to fall prey to an unspeakable curse." So that's all I really needed to know, but it kind of revolves around this 12-year-old boy who's like a street rat in London, and he meets a well-off boy on a ship that comes into port, and I'm thinking maybe the ship has brought vampires into the city, so there's an adventure with these two young boys. So this is very much a middle grade series. These are the only two that I know of in this one. The author is Sebastian Rook. I will let you know how these go if I get to them, and if there's any more in this series as well. And of course, you guys know that I want to get back into my gothic reads as well this fall. So once I started putting together my kind of TBR, I guess, and the things I wanted to watch for this readathon, I started going through my shelves, and there were a couple of more things that I pulled down, really super short reads that I'm hoping to squeeze in this month. We'll see how it goes, but these are ones that are like super short, and I could probably sit down and read in an afternoon. So this is a super cheesy looking book. So just look at this cool dude on the front here. This is Vampire's Visit by David A. Paulson, and one that I just happened to grab at the thrift store one day. I think this is probably like a cheesy Canadian. Oh, this is actually inscribed. It says, "To Christine, best wishes," and it's inscribed by the author. So that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that was in there. So I grabbed this one. I'm thinking it's probably, like I said, cheesy Canadian fiction. 1996 is when it came out. Yeah, it's Canadian. It was published by a Canadian company. And it sounds really good. It's super short. So I'll just read you the synopsis from the back. Salt and Pepper are a team. Their vacation together in London takes a turn when they notice every window in the manor is garlanded with garlic except for theirs. Sure enough, a teenage vampire shows up that night, but asking for their help? When they refuse, little brother Hal is kidnapped. So begins their involvement in a vampire gang war. Well, that sounds pretty cool. Like I said, it's a Canadian publication, something I've never ever heard of before. But since I saw this one up on my shelf, I grabbed it, and I think it's going to be a really cute little adventure. And then besides that, I do have two out of the Bailey School Kids series. We have Dracula Doesn't Rock and Roll and Dracula Doesn't Drink Lemonade. So these are two really super cute little books. Very short, obviously children's books. So I thought that these would be really cute to put in, like I said, just to sit down on a Sunday afternoon and read as part of this readathon. I think they're going to be so cute. I've never actually read anything out of the Bailey School Kids series. I know Cameron Cheney has a lot of these books, but it's not something really that I've gotten into collecting. I believe these kind of came after my time when I was growing up. Let's see when this was published. 1995. So yeah, I would have been a little bit older when these were really popular, but I thought they were super cute and I thought I'd add them in here. And then a couple of more suggestions that I just happened to pull off my shelf. Now these aren't going to be in my official TBR, but I thought since they were vampire themed, I wanted to just highlight them in case you guys were interested. I do have the 3 bind-ups in the Night World series by L.J. Smith, who of course also is the author of The Vampire Diaries series, which I haven't read. I've seen the show, but I haven't read it. So I wanted to put these in there. These bind-ups are really actually beautiful, and they look really good on a shelf. So there's 3 of them. So a fairly large series. And it says on the back of the first one here, vampires, werewolves, witches, shapeshifters. They live amongst us without our knowledge. Night World is their secret society, a secret society with very strict rules, and falling in love breaks all of the laws of Night World. So it sounds very, very much along the same sort of lines as Vampire Diaries. So like I said, I'm not going to put these in right now, but I thought I'd pull them down in case these interested any of you guys to put in. The other one too that I haven't read yet is Vampire Academy, and it just blows me away that I haven't gotten to those ones, but you know, so many books, so little time. And I know that's a favorite of a lot of people as well. I've never ever read them, but I think if you guys wanted to pick them up, it would be perfect for VAMPTEMBER as well. Another book that I really have to put on my list to read kind of before the end of the year is the last book in the Mina series. Now, I've read the first 2, of course, Mina and the Undead and Mina and the Slayers, by my good friend Amy McCaw, and this series is fantastic. It takes place in the 90s in New Orleans. It has all of the vintage vibes. It has all of the wonderful historical kind of vibes of that area, and obviously it's very much vampire themed. It's a YA series. I actually enjoyed the second book a lot better than I enjoyed the first one. The first one was about a 3-star for me, 3.5 star, but the second book, I believe I gave it a full 5 stars, if not a 4.5. So I really, really enjoy this. Again, Amy is like an uber Buffy fan, so if you really enjoy Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I would highly, highly recommend these. And the last book in the series is Mina and the Cult. I still don't have it. I still haven't read it. I feel really, really bad because I know Amy worked so hard on that book. So I'm definitely going to want to put it in before the end of the year. And I'm so happy that this readathon kind of made me rethink of that one, because like I said, just my reading is all over the place this year. So definitely going to put that one in to read before the end of 2024. Another super cheesy Canadian book is this one. It's called Vampires of Ottawa by Eric Wilson. So Eric Wilson is the author of the Liz and Tom Austin Mysteries, which is kind of a spin on like Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, but it takes place in Canada, and they take place like in different provinces, and it's very much a lot of the geography and the history of the different areas are wound into the stories, so you can learn a lot about the country as well. And this is the first one. My series is getting pretty big now, but this is the very first one that I bought when I found out that these even existed. They're from the 90s, the 80s and 90s, which is strange that I hadn't heard about these before, even when I was in school. But super, super cheesy, but really, really cute story. So I know it's Canadian, so it might not be readily available, but if you can find Vampires of Ottawa, it's a super cute adventure. And then the last ones out of the vampire novels suggestions is the series. It's Vampire Beach. So I picked these up earlier this year. There's actually another book in this series that I'm missing, but it's about like a high school student who his parents move to Malibu, and he goes to a new school and everything, and the in crowd is very friendly, and they've accepted him, and he starts to go to parties and stuff. And then mysteriously this girl washes up on shore, and I have a funny feeling that this in crowd is a group of vampires, and it very much, like, just even reading the synopsis, it very much has like Lost Boys sort of vibes. And if you're into that and you're into like YA fiction, this one sounds really good. I haven't read this series yet. Like I said, I found it earlier this year. I'm not putting it in for my VAMPTEMBER reads because I already have enough on my possibilities, but I thought I'd throw it out there as a suggestion just in case. And then for a suggestion of a novella, if you've never read Carmilla, which I think it might be a little bit longer than a novella length, but it is still, you know, relatively short. If you've never read Carmilla, I would highly, highly recommend that you do. It's a fantastic, dark, gothic vampire story, and it's very eerie. I found it very eerie. I was stuck in, and I haven't read it for a couple of years now. I've read it twice. But I love this book, and it just has all of those dark and spooky, very traditional kind of vampire vibes if you're looking for that sort of thing. So if you're looking for a shorter read, because we have so much going on for spooky season now, I would highly recommend Carmilla. And then prompt number 2 is vampire themed poetry or short story. So I'm actually going to recommend a graphic novel, a children's graphic novel, and I talk about this book whenever I can. I read it last year for spooky season, and it literally made me cry because it was so cute, and that's Garlic and the Vampire. There's 2 books. There's Garlic and the Vampire and Garlic and the Witch, but out of the 2, this one is my absolute favorite. It is so cute. It's literally about a little bulb of garlic who needs some help in the garden, and there's all these other little vegetable creatures and stuff like that, and he goes to get help from a vampire. And of course, garlic being kind of the vampire's kryptonite, this of course makes out for a really, really cute story. So really super short, but I love the illustrations. I love how warm and fuzzy it made me feel. I love that it has so much heart, and even for adults, this will just make you smile. So if you're looking for something really super short, I think this kind of still fits in with the prompt. I know we're talking about short stories or poetry, but I think graphic novels will definitely fit in there. I mean, you can sit down and read this in an hour. So I really, really highly recommend Garlic and the Vampire, and while you're at it, get Garlic and the Witch as well. So the next prompt is to watch vampire themed movies or TV shows, and this is where I'm going to be taking part mostly. Like I said, I've got a huge pile of possibilities already with my books, so I thought it would be really nice for Matthew and I to sit down and watch some vampire themed shows and movies together. We've already started Buffy the Vampire Slayer, of course, which is my favorite show of all time. We watched this earlier this year, but we stopped about halfway through season 7. We just moved on to something else. So we're going to be watching the last half of season 7. And then besides that, we're also going to continue our rewatch of the Vampire Diaries. Vampire Diaries is not my favorite show. I get really, really annoyed with Elena. And I can usually only make it so far in the show where I start getting confused, and there's just so many versions of her and everything in the storyline. But it's been a few years since I've watched the episodes of this one, so I'm definitely going to stick this one in as well. And then the other show that I wanted to watch is The Little Vampire. I've talked about this show so many times on the channel before. It's a German-Canadian TV show, and you can find some of the episodes here on YouTube. So I used to love this show as a kid, and for the longest time I thought it was like a fever dream because nobody else had ever heard of this show. And so I'm probably going to sit down and watch some of the episodes of that as well. It's super cheesy. It's very like low quality, sort of like a B quality show, but it is super, super cute. And then of course, like I said, the hilarious House of Frightenstein, I'm probably going to watch a few episodes of that as well because it's super, super cute. And then for movies, so the other night we, well, it was a rewatch for me, first time for Matthew. We watched Dracula 2000. I remember seeing it in the theaters years and years and years ago. I've seen it a couple of times, but I could barely remember anything about it because it had been so long. But even though I hadn't seen the movie in such a long time, the soundtrack is constantly on repeat in my house. Like for the past 20 years, it has been on repeat. So if you've never heard the soundtrack for this film, it's really, really good. And along the same lines, I also really wanted to watch Queen of the Damned as well. I don't even know if Matthew's ever seen it. I haven't seen it for years. And this is another one that the soundtrack, like even though the movie itself is super cheesy and it's, you know, it's not the best film out there, but it's good for entertainment value, the soundtrack really, really makes this movie. And that's another one that's constantly on repeat in my house. So that's one that we've already watched and one that I want to watch. And then I went through our Blu-rays and DVDs and pulled out a few, some that are going to be rewatches for us and some that are brand new. So I wanted to go through these with you guys. I think this one might be one of our choices for tonight. This is John Carpenter's Vampires, or John Carpenter's Vampires. I picked this one up. Is there a disc in here? Yeah. I picked this up at the thrift store a couple of weeks ago, and I think I might have seen this like back when I was a teenager. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks super, super cheesy. I watched a trailer for it a little while ago, like when I bought it, and I know it's going to be a good time. So we'll probably throw that one on. Dark Shadows by Tim Burton. I know, like, this is such a polarizing film, and I know it has very, very little to do with the original show, which I used to own the complete collection of the original show, and I have no idea what I did with it. I don't have it in my collection anymore, but I can't remember selling it. I don't know if I ended up loaning it out or leaving it somewhere, which is really unfortunate. I do want to get it again. But the movie is, I don't know, just as a standalone thing, it's super cheesy. It's got the worst lines in it, but it's really funny. And again, the music in this film, because it's based in the 60s, is quite good. So polarizing film, but I think I'm going to throw it on, even just in the background while I'm coloring or destickering books or something. So I'll probably throw this one on as well. This is a collection that I bought at the used bookstore a little while ago. It's called the Dark Moon Thriller Collection, 11 midnight movies on 4 DVDs. And it does have some Vincent Price movies in here, but and Bela Lugosi, plus a bunch of other people. So it does have some vampire themed films in here. So we have Fangs of the Living Dead, Grave of the Vampire, and then some other ones: Werewolf in the Girls' Dormitory, Werewolf in Washington, Zombie Hell House, Night of the Living Dead, and 5 more films. So I know these are going to be super, super cheesy. I'm not expecting a whole lot out of these, but sometimes it's just good to throw them on in the background and have a good laugh. We love laughing at cheesy movies. It's a whole thing in our house. And then I thought I grabbed the other ones, but I didn't. So Underworld is another one I haven't seen for years and years. I know Matt's watched these. I haven't even seen the full series. I think I only saw the first one or the first 2 in this one. So we'll probably throw these on as well. You know, when it comes to vampires, I'm very much like more of on the lines of like the gothic sort of vampire. Matt very much likes the action-packed ones. So we try to find a little bit of a balance. Speaking of the traditional ones, Dracula, of course. We haven't watched Dracula for a while. I think last year was the first time Matt had ever actually seen it. And I love this film. It's so beautiful. The acting is not great, I know, but it's such a beautiful film. And I think I'll probably put this one on. And I mean, Gary Oldman as Dracula makes the whole thing. And then along the same lines, my favorite sort of take on Dracula ever is Dracula Dead and Loving It. I love this film. It has Leslie Nielsen as Dracula, and it's like a Mel Brooks spoof of the original story. We watched this one earlier this year, so I'm not going to watch it again, but I wanted to suggest it to you guys because if you've never seen this, it's hilarious. And I remember renting it out I don't know how many times when I was a kid. So when I grew up and I started thinking about it, I definitely had to buy it for my collection. Fright Night is another one that we watched just recently, like a couple of weeks ago. So again, we're not going to put it on again, but classic vampire movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. It has all of the amazing cheese factors of the 80s. This one is a double feature with Urban Legend, which I thought was a weird combination to sort of put together. Must have been done by the same studio or whatever, but if you've never seen Fright Night, I would highly recommend that one. Lost Boys is another one. Oh, I can see it on the shelf there. It's over there. Again, we watched it during Old School April, so we're not going to watch Lost Boys again, but again, a classic. And then, of course, I had to go the cheeseball route. I watched Twilight a couple months ago, and I wanted to pick up the other ones in the series. So I think probably this is going to be like a Sunday afternoon where I'm sitting on the couch by myself because Matt is not a huge fan of Twilight. And I know it's super cheesy, but, you know, if you forget all of the problematic content and everything in it, I just watch it for the entertainment value and just sit down with a bowl of popcorn and fall half asleep on the couch while I have it on. So I'm definitely going to be throwing on at least the next couple in the Twilight series. I only watched the first one a couple of months ago, so I'll continue with that. And then I totally forgot that I had this one in my collection, Let Me In, which is a movie that has been on my list for so long, and I've heard so much about it, but I've never seen it. I am sort of embarrassed to admit I've never seen Let Me In. So since I have it as part of my collection, I'll probably throw that one on too. If you've seen it, please let me know what you think. And then last but not least for this particular prompt, it's Blade. So again, along the lines of more the way Matt sort of leans for vampire films. But again, this is one that I've never seen myself. I don't know why. It's another one that I'm embarrassed to admit I've never seen, but we'll probably throw this one on too. I know Matt's going to enjoy that. And of course, we have Nosferatu coming out in a couple of months in December, so super, super excited about that as well. And then for the last two prompts, prompt number 4 is create a vampire themed artwork. Now, I don't do any kind of like sort of drawing or crafts or anything like that, but hopefully the intro that I did for this video with kind of scenes from all of my favorite vampire movies will count as artwork for this prompt. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, vampires is one of my favorite subgenres of horror, even though I don't own a whole lot of vampire themed books, so we have to try to fix that. But I did want to put together a little montage at the beginning of this video of all of my favorite vampire films. And then the last one, prompt number 5, is cosplay a vampire and post it on social media. And the official hashtag is #VAMPTEMBER. So if you do participate in that particular prompt, which I think would be really, really cool, I know there's a lot of talented people in this community, make sure you use the hashtag so the host can see your cosplay and we can all enjoy it. So that's it. That's my VAMPTEMBER sort of pile of possibilities. Like I said, there were a couple of things already in my spooky season reads that fit within this, and I'm so happy it did. We had already started rewatching some of season 7 of Buffy, so that fit in. And I pulled down a couple more movies off the shelf, which I think is going to be super, super fun for us to throw on as our participation in VAMPTEMBER. I'm so excited that all of these lovely people got together and put together this wonderful readathon. I know that spooky season is so busy for a lot of people, but I really, really wanted to take part in this one. So again, I'll have all of the hosts linked down below. Make sure you go watch their announcement videos. And of course, let me know what you guys have planned for VAMPTEMBER if you're taking part. Other than that, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Leave me a question or a comment down below because I love chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky, everybody. Bye.